explain how to do the settings piece of setting up your Elite Series 2 controller. So really the first thing you got to do is hit your Xbox button on your Xbox controller. It'll navigate down to the devices and streaming section. So I think it's accessories. So when you get to accessories, click on that, and then you got to find your Xbox Elite wireless controller, the Series 2 device. Click on that one. It'll be a configure button. So find that one, and then you need to figure out which slot you're using for your Halo. So once you find out which slot you use for Halo, click on the little pencil icon up in the top button. And then once you've done that, you got to find the button that's your jump button. So whatever button you use to jump, and there's all different layouts in Halo, but whatever button you use to jump, find that button and click on it. So when you do, you'll see when you open it up, there'll be a primary at the top, and underneath it will be shift. And so your primary, you want to keep it as your jump button. That underneath where it says shift, that second button, click on that, and you need to change that to be whatever button is mapped to your crouch. And you'll be able to validate that by it'll have your jump button in the top left corner be a little bit bigger, and then in the bottom right corner it'll show the little button in the bottom right that's your crouch. So you'll be able to validate that once you back out of that screen there. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is you have to set up a shift button. So it's the same kind of thing as using the shift key on your keyboard on your computer. So when you hit this button, it'll be like, using any of the top rows, like to make an exclamation point or the @ symbol or the pound sign, as you would on your keyboard, except in Halo, when you use the shift button, it does the automatic spring jump when you're landed in the crouch position. I'll explain that a little bit more. So find whatever button that you want to use as your shift button. Some people will set some of their D-pad stuff to your shift button, which is great. Other people, like me, I set one of my paddles to be my shift button. So that allows me to keep my thumbs on the sticks and still be able to spring jump without having to take my thumb off the stick. So really it's whatever works for you, whatever button layout you're using that's most efficient. Just pick a button that you want to use as your shift button. So find it on your, so you got to find that button, you click on it, and then down at the bottom when you scroll down, it says use as shift button, and you want to check that. So as long as that's checked, that button will serve as your shift key. The way that you know, or you can validate that you actually did that, is when you back out of that, right where that button is, instead of being what the button was before, there will be an up arrow, and that signifies that it's a shift button. So really those are the two top things that you have to do to configure the controller. Now that you've properly configured your Elite 2 controller, and you've got your crouch button and your jump button set up, and you set up a shift button, let's go into the execution of the actual jump. So first thing you want to do is anytime you land in a crouched position, you can spring jump out of it. So what I do is I jump, I'll crouch, and you can hold crouch and you can move around as much as you want. So jump, hold crouch, and while in the crouch position, whatever button you set up to use as your shift key, hit that, and that will give you the spring jump. And so jump, hold crouch, and then hit your shift key, and your spring jump every single time you do that. So make sure you're letting go of the jump button though. So jump, and then just hold the crouch button while you're in air, and then when you land, you can still hold crouch that whole time, and after that, press the shift key, and you'll do the spring jump. Okay, so now that you know how to do the spring jump, the spring thrust jump is really a lot of the same steps that you did before. So you're going to do the same thing, jump or just fall off of something and land in the crouched position. and you're holding crouch before you hit the ground every time. So jump, hold crouch, and while you're in that crouch position, you're gonna hit your shift key. But right after you hit your shift key, you hit shift, and then you hit your thrust or your boost. So you almost toggle it. So it's shift thrust, kind of like that, you know, consecutively. Shift thrust, and that'll launch you in the air. And if you want to get like a higher, to higher ledges and things like that, you hit your thrust, and then while you're in the air, you stabilize. And so that's like the zoom in button. So you stabilize, and then you're gonna want to just mash your jump and crouch button, and that'll help you reach higher levels. But again, it's jump, hold crouch, hit your shift key, and then your boost right after, and then stabilize while you're in the air, and that's pretty much it. You did the spring thrust jump.